Walk us through some of the, because we really haven't highlighted what exactly is the service that your firm, your practice offers specifically to clients.
Yeah, so there are a few things that we do. One that came with the CPA practice is compliance work, which is tax preparation. We have about 600 clients. A lot of them are attorneys. And the tax preparation,
Okay.
bread and butter of the firm. And I absolutely love doing it. It's like a puzzle to me. And that's a huge part of our practice. Another large part of our practice is tax controversy. And this is very rewarding for me because we help people resolve their tax problems.
So, on that note, when you say tax controversy, is it a situation where there's a certain lawsuit already engaged, or hey, I just missed the deadline and I need to have this particular issue? What exactly is the tax controversy that you mentioned that you assist folks with?
Yeah, so it could be a letter from the IRS, that a penalty that you got, or it could be a huge multi-million dollar audit, or the audit went very badly, went wrong.
So it ranges depend on any type of
Anything,
particular
any
tax
type of
problem,
issue. Yeah,
you step in.
yeah.
Beautiful, fantastic. Anything else that you guys offer?
Yeah, so we do a lot of tax planning as well. And this is a lot of fun. It's like a puzzle again. Look at the type of entity you have, what you could be doing differently. Are there strategies that you could be taking advantage of?
Let me ask you this, Lucy. Why is it that the tax code is extremely complicated to the point where it seems intentional that they really make it so broad, confusing, these legal verboses in there that for your regular individual, they may get lost, and this is where the tax problems start getting to come about. What's exactly the intent from legislation,
Yeah.
Congress, to have this type of really complex code?
I have this theory that it is a means for the government to control the public. And that's why we'll never have a flat tax. Let me give you an example. If the government wants to incentivize citizens to study,
Okay.
they will give out tax credits. If they want to disincentivize a behavior, they will tax it, like cigarettes, alcohol, bribes that are not deductible. So I think it is a process and there's a means of the
Interesting.
government influencing the
Controlling
the
society.
behavior. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. If
Impressive.
you want people to buy electric cars, you're going to give them a credit for buying electric cars, and the credits have been really high.
Good point. Good
So,
point. What's your take? Because look, we all know and understand there's a new administration coming into office here for the executive branch in our government.
uh huh.
And the talk has been that, okay, we're going to wipe out the federal income and we're going to focus on tariffs. Do you think that's actually going to become a reality, or is it potentially some political hype that may just
It's
be being
political hype.
discussed?
I think it's political hype. So we'll never have a flat tax. I think also flat tax, I think it's very unfair to the low income population. Let me tell you a little bit why. It's a consumption tax, right? So the low income families, they spend all their money. There's no money left. It all goes to groceries, rent, whatever. The wealthy, they don't spend all the money that they earn. The money goes to savings. So for taxing, spending, consumption, the low-income families are going to pay disproportionately more in taxes than the wealthy would.
That makes sense. In looking at your wide range of experience and clients, Lucy, what do you think is really the distinguishing factor, or is it the one that you just highlighted, which is look, the more affluent individuals are focused on saving compared to just spending? What do you think is the big difference that is holding someone from being in a particular tax bracket to then earning more, keeping more, generating more?
Well, definitely financial education. That's a huge factor. I mean, socioeconomic factors, where you grew up, where you went to school, the opportunities that you've had. But financial education is definitely lacking. We don't learn about checking accounts or taxes in school.
We don't.
You have to go out and get that training, that information, and yourself. And now that we have YouTube and we have all the, this
YouTube University, we call it.
access to information, it's very helpful. But
Understood.
but I think that makes a huge difference.
When focusing on your client experience, specifically, you mentioned there was quite a bit of attorneys that you assist. What do you think is one of the main issues that you have allowed, or at least dissected, and have allowed the opportunity for these individuals to correct it that allowed them to then take it to the next level?
I do see a lot of, and this is in general, not just attorneys. I see people living beyond their means and spending all the money that they make and not setting money aside. I see people not reinvesting the money into their firms. I mean, now specifically for attorneys. If you're spending all the money and not reinvesting it in your firm,
It's going to eventually die.
well, not necessarily. You're going to have to balance that out somewhere else. So maybe you do more networking to grow. But then your systems, your software may not be up to date to where it needs to be. So you operating at highest efficiency possible. So I think you have, as an entrepreneur, you have to reinvest in your business. You have to set aside some money from that profit to go back into the business, if you want to grow it.
Certainly, what I've gotten from you, Lucy, is you want to make sure that you have clean books, clean records. Your
Yes.
financials should be completely clean, up to speed, up to date, so that you can have a better understanding and idea as to what exactly is the health of your business, right? But is there any particular nuggets that you would recommend to folks who have their own business or are entrepreneurs to say, look, for taxes, you want to make sure that you immediately, as soon as it comes in, a portion is allocated for tax. And then ultimately, you want to keep an understanding as to what exactly it is that you are potentially ending with EBITDA. And I'll allow you to highlight what exactly that may mean so that you can then understand, I need to allocate this percentage to reinvestment.
Yeah.
Walk us through what exactly would be your suggestions, your golden nuggets to allow somebody to provide improvement to their business.
So I think you have to know your numbers. You, a lot of people, and I understand, you went to school to be an attorney, to be a physician, not to be an accountant and be, dealing with your books. I totally get that, but you have to know your numbers, and you have to be disciplined to stay on top of your bills and particularly your taxes, to stay ahead of it. Also, don't be afraid to spend the money on professionals. Like me, I often see clients where I see they're in the wrong type of entity, and we change the entity, and sometimes we can go back a couple of years. And I had a client last week who got $50,000 back just from that restructuring
Of the particular entity.
the particular entity. So spend money on professionals, whether it is a CPA, whether it is marketing, human resources, software. I think you get to a point in your business where you can no longer do it all yourself.
Good.
You have to seek expertise
Guidance.
outside and guidance.
I agree.